but I think we have a book. Just a minute, I'll get. I think. तथैवाचन्ये नरा लोकविरा यहवे कृष्णा मुकारन्दविनम् नेत्रै पिबन्तो नयाम्भिरामाम् पार्थस्त्र पुता पदम् अपूरस्य तथैव चन्ये नरा लोकविरा यहवे कृष्णा मुकारन्दविनम् नेत्रै पिबन्तो नयाम्भिरामम् पार्थस्त्र पुता पदम् अपूरस्य तथैव चन्ये नरा लोकविरा यहवे कृष्णा मुकारविन्दम् नेत्रै पिबन्तो नयाम्भिरामम् पार्थस्त्र पुता पदम् अपूरस्य. Anyone wants to chant? Tataiva chanyo nara loka viram. Yeah, please go ahead. I'm just. Okay, thank you. Synonymous. Tata, as also, evacha, and certainly, anye, others, naraloka, human society, vira, fighters, ye, those, away, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna, Lord Krishna's Mukha Aravindam, face like a lotus flower. Netrai, with the eyes. Pibanta, while saying, I am Bhiramam, very pleasing to the eyes. Partha, Arjuna, Astra Puta, purified by arrows. Padam, above. Api, Apo, achieved. Asya, of him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Certainly, others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, appears in this world for two missionary purposes: to deliver the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants. But because the Lord is absolute, His two different kinds of actions, although apparently different, are ultimately one and the same. His annihilation of a person like Shishupala is as auspicious as his actions for the protection of the faithful. All the warriors who fought against Arjuna but who were able to see the lotus like face of the Lord on the battlefield achieved the abode of the Lord, exactly as the devotees of the Lord too do. The words pleasing to the eyes of the seer are very significant. When the warriors from the other side of the battlefield saw Lord Shri Krishna at the front, they appreciated his beauty, and the dormant instinct of love of God was awakened. Shishupala saw the Lord also, but he saw him as his enemy, and his love was not awakened. Therefore, Shishupala achieved oneness with the Lord by merging into the impersonal glare of his body called the Brahmajyoti. Others who were in the marginal position, being neither friends nor enemies, but slightly in love of God, by appreciating the beauty of his face, were at once promoted to the spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas. The Lord's personal abode is called Goloka Vrindavan, and the abodes where his planetary expansions reside are called the Vaikunthas, where the Lord is present as Narayana. Love of Godhead is dormant in every living entity, and the entire process of devotional service unto the Lord is meant to awaken this dormant eternal love of Godhead. But there are degrees of such transcendental awakening. Those whose love of God is awakened to the fullest extent go back to the Golok of Vrindavan planet in the spiritual sky. Whereas persons who have just awakened to love of Godhead by accident or association are transferred to the Vaikuntha planets. Essentially, there is no material difference between Goloka and Vaikuntha. But in Vaikunthas, the Lord is served in unlimited opulences, whereas in Goloka, the Lord is served in natural affection. This love of God is awakened by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Here, the word Parthastra Puta is significant. Those who saw the beautiful face of the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified first by Arjuna when he made his onslaught with arrows. The Lord appeared for the mission of diminishing the burden of the world, and Arjuna was assisting the Lord by fighting on his behalf. Arjuna personally declined to fight, and the whole instruction of the Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna to engage him in the fight. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna agreed to fight in preferences to his own decision. And thus, Arjuna fought to assist the Lord in his mission of diminishing the burden of the world. All the activities of a pure devotee are executed on behalf of the Lord because the pure devotee of the Lord has nothing to do for his personal interest. Arjuna's killing was as good as killing by the Lord himself. As soon as Arjuna shot an arrow at an enemy, that enemy became purified of all material contaminations and became eligible to be transferred to the spiritual sky. Those warriors who appreciated the lotus feet of the Lord and saw his face at the front and had their dormant love of God awakened. And thus they were transferred at once to Vaikuntha Loka, not to the impersonal state of Brahmajyoti, as was Shishupala. Shishupala died without appreciating the Lord, while others died with appreciation of the Lord. Both were transferred to the spiritual sky, but those who awakened to love of God were transferred to the planets of the transcendental sky. Uddhava seemingly lamented that his own position was less than that of the warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because they had attended to Vaikuntha, whereas he remained to lament the disappearance of the Lord. ओम ज्ञानत्रमन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदमयं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। नमो विश्वपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्णा प्रेमापदाय ते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतस्वे नमः। Panchatatvakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avtaram Bhakta Kamnimi Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandha Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वर्षभानु सुते देवी परमामि हरि प्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Once again, the translation. Certainly, the others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. So here, as we can see, this conversation is happening between Uddhava and Vidura. So here, Uddhava is talking to Vidura, and he was lamenting like how he is in mood of separation of Lord Shri Krishna, and is like very much affected by that, and like when Vidura asks how, even though knowingly that how the Yadavas doing, so he knew that the Yadavas have extincted, they have gone back to their original positions, but still, for as he didn't knew, so he asked Uddhava, and Uddhava is answering these things. So in a mood of separation, so he's answering this, and here he's saying this verse here, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, as we can see how the Lord is Karunamai. He is definitely Bhaktavatsala, but is not envious to anybody. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshitu nasa priyaha iti vajateto mam bhaktya maitesu chapyaham. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am sarva, Samoham sarva bhut. I'm equal to everyone. Sarva bhuteshu. Neither I'm enemy nor I'm friends with anybody. But whoever is very dear, like, who's my devotee, I am in them and they are in me. So here, as you can see, Lord has two missionary purposes. In the fourth chapter, Lord Krishna himself says, Yada Yada Hi Dharma. So those two slokas, very famous slokas. He says that my two purposes are to deliver the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants. So delivering and annihilation is one and the same for the Supreme Lord, because he's absolute. In the spiritual world, in our material world, 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 plus 1 is 2. But in the spiritual, 1 minus 1 is also 1, and 1 plus 1 can also be 1. Because the Supreme Lord is all absolute, so it can happen there. So killing and annihilation of the Lord is as good as mercy to him. See, certain children, like, they are behaved, so the father shows them kind of affection. But when the same child is misbehaving, same father chastise him. So it doesn't mean that he doesn't like it. So it shows like he's trying to rectify him. So likewise, he is equal to all living entities, but he takes special care of all the devotees. And like over here, it said, like, the warriors who were fighting, who were even opposite side of Arjuna, even when they were seeing Lord Krishna, and when they were seeing Lord Krishna, even though, like, from his party as well as others' party, whoever saw Lord Krishna, because he was there in the battlefield, and whenever they were seeing it, and then instinctively their dormant love of Godhead was awakened, and then they could see Krishna and appreciate his beauty, and live their body. Because it is said, Nama Rupa Guna Leela are all unique to Lord. And is by that we can say that he is a absolute truth, and he is a supreme personality of God. These four qualities are in 100% of the Lord, and that's where we can see Lord Krishna exhibits those 100%. And over here we can see that quality, Rupa. By that Rupa, that quality of Rupa, Lord Krishna's beauty, just by seeing that, people are getting delivered. So astonishing, right? Just by seeing somebody, how can somebody can get delivered? But it is Lord Shri Krishna. And he's absolute. Just by taking his holy name, we can get delivered. By taking prasadam, people can get delivered. By glorifying him, we can get delivered. By seeing him, we can get delivered. So Lord Krishna has given all the possible options for us to come back to him, And Lord Krishna says, how this material world is dukhalam ashvastam, is temporary. Karma yogi, jnana yogis also, they can go up to the maximum level of Swarga Loka or Siddha Lokas. But to go beyond that to the spiritual sky, they need to practice bhakti. Without bhakti, they cannot enter. And here, Lord Krishna, even though they were enemies, he is showing them complete mercy. He's giving them an opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. Who can be more merciful than that? And also, we can see, how to bring back Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva sent some slokas of Srimad Bhagavatam to bring it. So in that, one sloka is how merciful, how the Lord, even though Baki, who's Putana, sister of Bakasura, is Putana, how she came with poisoned breast, trying to kill, with an intention to kill Lord Krishna, baby Krishna, but still he drank and he accepted his mother, and then he delivers her to the same status of Yashodamai. Who can be more merciful than that? Him. So we can see how much merciful is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and how he wanted us to come back, because this place is not for a sane man. It is a lot of people, as we can see in this material world, everybody is trying to make this world as a happy place. They are trying in all possible ways, economically. They're trying, but they are not able to successful. And then we can see, instead of getting more and more peace in the world, we can see more and more quarrels, more and more wars. How it can happen? Because we are not doing it in a right way, as everybody is appreciating the Supreme Personality of God and accepting him. So until unless everybody comes to that stage, it is not possible. So here the Lord is saying, so, and also whoever was envious of the Lord is also giving them an opportunity to go to Brahma Jyoti. That is also spiritual, in the spiritual sky, but that is in Brahma Jyoti, where they merge, the soul gets merged into the Brahma Jyoti. For, it can be eternity and it cannot be, it is temporary, actually. It may be temporary. And the difference, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, the difference between Brahma Jyoti and the spiritual Vaikunthas is in the Brahma Jyotir, it can be only such or to the maximum of Chit. But in Vaikuntha, it is such Chit Ananda. We can have full knowledge and go to the Brahma Jyotir. We can even have eternity. We can just like to be inactive for eternal time. But when we are, in the Brahma Jyotir, and as soul, we are active. And when we think that, oh, I've been inactive for a long time, I want to be active, then we just fall down again to this material world. So it may not be permanent position. But if people who like to be there, they can live there eternally, inactive. So that's why it's only such chit. But you cannot experience Ananda there because you're inactive. The only Ananda can be experienced in the Vaikuntha Loka, where you are, you can serve the Lord in the different moods. Shantarasa, Dasarasa, Sakyarasa, Vatsalarasa, Madhurya-rasa. In this mood, you can serve the Lord eternally there and experience that happiness along with the Lord. So this is the power of bhakti. So when we are practicing bhakti yoga, we can attain the Vaikuntha lokas. As over here, we can see Prabhupada is giving an example of Shishupala, how he was very envious of the Lord. And whoever were envious of the Lord, they actually attended Brahma Jyotir only. But whoever appreciated the Lord, even at the last moment, they got Vaikuntha Dham. And Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Antakaleshe mama eva smaran mukta kalevaram sa priyaha satad bhava yati atra nasti asamsayaha. Antakalecha mam eva smaran mukta kalevaram. Like at the time of death, whoever is remembering me alone, eva, that is very important, remembering me alone, so he is surely going to come back to me. Of this, there is no doubt. Lord Krishna says, of this, there is no doubt. And here we can see how whoever were, remembering Krishna at the time of death, they are going back to Godhead. And Uddhava is also saying that, confirming that here. And this is in Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only here, like whoever, and there are many stories in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam gives us, how to love God. Bhagavad Gita tells us who is God. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us how to love God. So this is, and this where we can see many examples, given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how devotees or non-devotees even, how they got the mercy of the Lord, or a pure devotee, and they attended the Vaikuntha Dhams or Goloka Vrindavan. So here, as we can see here, and Prabhupada is mentioning very nice here. So there is no difference between Vaikuntha Dham and Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan is achieved when somebody is completely surrendered and engaged in full service of the Supreme Lord. They can only go to Goloka Vrindavan. And actually, that's what Prabhupada is teaching us, is for us to have that full surrender, so that we can go to the topmost spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan. And Prabhupada is saying that Vaikuntha, the Lord is served, is in unlimited opulences. That is mostly in Shantarasha, where you accept the Lord in awe and reverence. You worship the Supreme Lord in awe and reverence. But in Goloka Vrindavan, you can worship the Lord in Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. In the mood of, you can also worship in Vaikuntha Dham in the mood of servant, but friends and parentalhood and conjugal love, you can only experience in Goloka Vrindavan. So that is how it is. And over here, it is said, like, how the importance of a devotee. And that's why it is said, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhakti Lata Beach. Who's the most fortunate person in the whole Brahmanda? Like, this is like the whole Brahmanda. Brahmanda is like all the universes, all everywhere, the whole material cosmos. Who is the most fortunate? It is said, whoever got the mercy of a Guru and Krishna in bhakti. See, that is also said in bhakti. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, that is also not said yet. In bhakti, he is the most fortunate person in the whole Brahmanda. So here, as you can see, Parthastra Puta is significant, as Prabhupada is mentioning, like, because they got shot by Arjuna's arrow. All the devotees, pure devotees, like Yudhishthira, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, like, all these devotees were killing, opposite party. So they were getting purified by his arrows. And then they were getting the mercy of the Lord Shri Krishna. The same, so we also are in the same position. We are like, those people who are dying. So we have to take shelter of a guru. And Krishna showed his mercy. He gave his disciple, Arjuna, the knowledge. And he's acting on his instruction. So similarly, a guru is also acting on instructions of Lord Shri Krishna. He is not acting by his own will. He is only surrendered to the Supreme Lord. He is acting for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And is engaging his disciples, in the service of the Supreme Lord. So when we are surrendered to the Guru, and we are working in that under the shelter of Guru, trying to please Lord Shri Krishna, Krishna will be pleased. Because as it is said here, when Arjuna was shooting the arrow, Krishna was showing them the mercy. And that's what it said also in the Bhagavad Gita. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmaram yuddesha mai arpito mano buddhir mayamesam asamsayaha ma vevesyasi asamsayaha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Therefore, in all circumstances, you should surrender your mind and intelligence unto me and fight. Do your duty. And ultimately, you are going to come back to me. Of this, there is no doubt. So that's why even for us, we have to serve in that mood of servant of the servant, in the mood of, as showed by example by Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we can, achieve the same faith. We can get the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna only by the mercy of Guru, by a pure devotee. As it is shown as an example here. Arjuna was fighting. He has dedicated his life to engage in the war, to fight according to the wishes of Lord Shri Krishna against his wishes, his preferences. He is fighting on behalf of Lord Shri Krishna. And because of that, everything is become spiritual there. That also becomes bhakti. So when bhakti is there, so Lord Krishna is there. So that's why, and also here we can see in the Bhagavad, in Prabhupada mentions, like the devotee of human beings' purpose is to awaken the dormant love of Godhead. The human life is meant to awaken the dormant love of Godhead. And spiritual injection should be the guiding principle to where it can help us to awaken that love of Godhead. If any scripture which is not helping us, to awaken our dormant love of Godhead, then that is not probably an authorized scripture, because we can see, and that's why Prabhupada mentioned this in other places, like, so we should follow the instructions given in the scriptures. Because, and also Lord Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijananti, like only my devotees can know me. So when we are surrendered to a pure devotee of Lord Shri Krishna, so we can know from him, get knowledge from him. And tadvidhi pranipatena pranipashtena seva upadeshite jnanam jnanena tattvadarshinaha. Lord Krishna says that how one should approach a spiritual master in a submissive mood and surrender to him and ask questions, and because they have seen the truth. So that's why we should be very submissive, humble in and approaching a guru. And here, as we can see, Arjuna agreed to fight in preference to his own decision. And Arjuna's killing was as good as killing by the Lord himself, because he was acting on the instructions of the Supreme Lord. He was a warrior. His duty was to fight. And whoever, while fighting, when he was fighting and killing the people, so they were seeing Lord Shri Krishna, face to face. They were very fortunate to see Lord Krishna face to face. But we also have, as I said, like, Nama Rupa Guna Leela, our lords are non-different. So we also have, by the mercy of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are getting this opportunity to chant the holy names of the Lord and be in association of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we are chanting these holy names of the Lord, we are in direct association of the Supreme Lord. And just by chanting this holy name of the Lord, as it is a Yuga Dharma, we can also awaken our dormant love of Godhead and attain the topmost spiritual place in the spiritual sky, Goloka Vrindavan. And as it is said, the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita, that of this there is no doubt. So we have to have that determination, that faith, and act and just practice on it. We have to practice, and when we practice in that mood, with detachment, as Lord Krishna also said, Abhyasa and Vairagya, so then we can achieve that faith. And over here, Lord Krishna, as soon as the enemy became purified of all material contamination and become eligible to transfer to the spiritual sky, those warriors who appreciated the lotus feet of the Lord and saw his face at the front had the dormant love of God awakened. Yeah, that is a mercy. And we can see how Srila Prabhupada also did this. How he came all alone, at the age of 70 to from Vrindavan to place in New York, and he started this movement. There were all hippies. From hippies, he transferred them to a pure Vaishnavas. Just by mercy, he made that possible. And not only that area, because see, if you see, people whoever are trying to do, they are able to do to certain people or certain location, a certain region. But Prabhupada did all over the world. All over the world, he established this. So that is the power of Srila Prabhupada. That is the power of bhakti. So, and as we are very fortunate to get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and practicing this under the spiritual platform called ISKCON. As Prabhupada has given us everything, this wonderful platform, ISKCON. Wherever we go, it's all the same. All the temples, all the places, deities, the bhajans, kirtans, prasadam, everything is all the same. Everything is established by Srila Prabhupada. So that's why when we are also taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, we can also get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So this is the power of bhakti. As we can see here, Prabhupada also manifested those things. Arjuna was killing and he was giving the mercy of Lord Sri Krishna, but Prabhupada gave the mercy all over the world. Yeah. So here, I like to stop here. If you have any questions or any comments, anybody has any reflections, we can discuss that. So Prabhuji has, no, I'm not a qualified person, but I didn't want it to give you sudden say, oh, do you like to speak? So I do not want, but I would be happy if you have any points to discuss. So anybody has
about the souls going to Brahmajyoti, right?
Yes.
And they have like desire, or they can choose where they're going after that, or...
No, they do not have any desires because they become inactive. They want to merge into the Brahmajyoti.
Then they coming back.
Yeah. So when they are in inactive state, so as they are stuck for supposed to be an eternal time, and then when they feel that oh, I'm here I'm stuck here for too long, then as soon as they had that kind of how it happens, I don't know, because and I don't know who can, maybe somebody who's very, very knowledgeable in the topic can talk how actually that happens, how they can think in an inactive state, I'm here for too long, as soon as they do that. But it is said they come back to this material world again. So they cannot say, oh, from Brahmajyoti, I didn't like this place, I will like to go to Vaikuntha. No, because as they haven't practiced bhakti yoga, so they cannot go definitely to the spiritual planet. So if they have to come back here, practice it, and then go back. So that's why no chances. We should not experiment with our spiritual life. Prabhupada has given us everything in this platform ISKCON. It is pure bhakti. Prabhupada is teaching us as is by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by an example. And Prabhupada is giving us Raganuga Bhakti. That is the topmost bhakti. So when we practice that, so we can achieve the topmost spiritual sky. Even forget Vaikuntha, we can even reach to Goloka Vrindavan. Shwetadeep, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, all those things. So we can go there. Is it okay, Prabhu? Okay. Anybody has any questions, any comments? Anybody want to give any reflections on today's shloka?
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a nice class. And of all the things, bhakti is the most important thing. Whatever we do with pure heart and then devotion, that makes a lot of difference. That is the thing. I thought I got it.
Yes. Yeah, and that reminds me one important point I missed. Actually, like how Uddhava, being a pure devotee,
Yeah.
he's lamenting the separation of the Supreme Lord. He was there with the Lord, doing pastimes.
Yeah.
Then when Lord Krishna left this to go back, to his own abode, and he left Uddhava because he knew that Vidura will come. So then Vidura will come. So then, so to talk about this spiritual knowledge and everything, to discuss that. So he, because Lord is Sarva Karana Karanam, he knows. So he made Uddhava to wait so that he can experience that love of God, because he also went to Vrindavan. If you remember, like Lord Krishna sends him to Vrindavan to learn the mood of separation, how the gopis were having. So he learned that, but he wants to experience that. So then he kept him, in the material world, and he left. And then he's now experiencing that the mood of separation. And we can see in the mode of separation how wonderful he is, able to remember Lord Krishna. And of course, it is said, nobody likes this, but it is said, the intense love is only found in the mode of separation.
Yeah.
So and he's exhibiting it here as well, as Gopis exhibited that. But Uddhava is feeling that I'm so unfortunate. Even the people, like Lord Krishna took everybody, all his family members, all his friends, everybody he took, and even the people who are dying on the war, they were not even his devotees. He also gave them place in the Vaikuntha Dham, and I am being there with him. He didn't show his mercy to me. I'm still here rotting like this, in this material world, and he still hasn't shown his mercy to me. Ashishyava pradam pranastuma marma manto korutiva yata tatava vidadanto lampato mat prana susayevarapaha. That's the mood of a pure devotee. However you want to treat me, it's fine. I'm still going to be your devotee, life after life, birth after birth. So that's what Uddhava is showing here. That is the topmost, prema. That is the topmost, anybody can achieve. That is, but if it's nice to see and hear, but it's very difficult to experience.
Because of these things, Uddhava was there, because we all know how much he was with him and he was loving him and he knows everything. So how much he was feeling the separation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
he was
that
with him
is a
and being
thing.
so close and guess, and that too, if somebody is there, we feel very separation.
We don't feel
it is
that much close.
Lord himself, and then he's having separation from the Lord with whom we had so close connection, so close relation, and suddenly disappears.
That is something we have to learn. How much Buddha was close to him, and then still Arjuna was also close to him. But Uddhava's feelings were very, very different.
No, yeah. See, Uddhava position and Arjuna's position is also different. So
Different.
that's why Lord Krishna wanted Uddhava to learn the mode of separation. That's why he sent him to Vrindavan. Arjuna never went to learn anything like this to Vrindavan. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much. Vanchakalapatarpasya,
Pattanam Pavane, Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.